I'd like to welcome each and every one of you here to the Oakbrook area. And as we all gather here from different parts of the world, it is to be able to enjoy the great teachings of the great masters in the Sanma tradition. Those teachings that have helped us at one stage in our life or another. Those teachings that have brought joy into our life, so that as we all gather here at this holiday season, that we're able to benefit and grow in our spiritual pursuits. As we look at our lives, many times we find that problems seem to be coming to us from all directions. We might find a sickness in the family. It might seem like we're the only ones who are having a financial problem. It might look like maybe we have a lot of difficulty getting along with our neighbors. And many times at work, it might not be the best of opportunities for us, is what we think. And so what happens is that we as human beings are always worried about one thing or another. We worry that things will happen this way, and then we also worry that things will not happen this way. And if we look at our lives, we find that a lot of our time is spent in worrying. So this weekend, as we come together, we want to keep all the worries out of the Oakbrook Marriott. We don't want a single worry to be able to enter these precincts. What is very interesting about worrying is to be in a state where one can understand why we worry. We all worry all the time. It will be nice to know why are we worrying. If we don't know why we are worrying, then we keep on worrying. And so if we understand why we worry, then maybe we'll be able to cope with the difficulties of worrying. And so I think if you think about worrying, and if you look into your own lives, you'll find that most of the times we are worrying about someone else. Someone that we might know, they might be close to us, someone we might be acquaintance of. We're worried that they might be physically sick. We're worried because of financial situation. We're worried because they're having some emotional problems. And what is very interesting is, like, all the amount of worry that we do doesn't take the problem away. If our worrying would take the problem away, then the person would be relieved. And so one thing that is interesting to understand is, if we are worrying about someone else, then let us see what their problem is and see if we can do something to help relieve the problem. If we can do something to relieve the problem, we should definitely do it. And as soon as we start to do something to relieve the problem, then there should be no question of worrying anymore, because we are doing something. If we can't help the situation, then maybe there might be an expert in the area who can help. Let's say you have a friend who has a financial problem. See, send them to an accountant or someone who's a financial planner. Maybe they can help their financial difficulties. You know someone who's sick, rather than just worry about it, you take them to a doctor. And there are many experts in many areas in this world who can help. So rather than worry either about someone who's going through a difficult time, the best thing is to do what we can to help them. And if after doing what we can to help someone it doesn't work, then we should not spend any more of our time in that direction. Now when it's ourselves that we're worried about, we all have many worries. As a student we worry if we're going to pass the exam. As a young person at a certain age we worry about getting married. As someone who's married, we're worried about having children, and as those who have children, we're always worried if our children are going to be turning out to be good kids, or would they trouble us and trouble the society. And as we grow, there are many, many other worries that we have. And so the same principle applies there too. If worrying would help the situation, then it makes sense to worry. But if we look at the problem, we first try to solve it ourselves. If we can solve it, or we know what steps to take, then there's no need to worry. If we can't solve it, then we need to go to someone who's maybe an expert in a certain area who can help us relieve the problem. And we who are in the Sanma tradition have one more step that we can take. Many times after trying everything that we can think of, either by ourselves or through some experts in any area, we still are in a state where the problem is not going away. And then we should turn it over to the master power, or to God. And we should then realize that whatever the difficulty is, if we did our very best to get away from it and the difficulty still lingers on, then we leave it in the hand of God and know that that situation is the best one for us. So there's no need for worrying about the situation. And many of us, many a times, forget that those of us who've been lucky enough to have been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond, that the master power is always with us. Many times we want to pray to the master, and we just consider the outer form of the master power as being the master. And so we think, oh, we're far away, maybe if we can physically be close, we could talk about our problem, we could maybe get an interview and be able to get our state known so that we could be relieved of the pain. Little do we realize that the master power is always with us. Those of us who've been initiated, the power of God is always sitting here at the seat of the soul. And the key to get away from worrying is to get to the master power, is to invert. All of our troubles can be relieved by a very simple process. That's to invert, that is to meditate, that's to go within. Because inverting or meditating or going within is connecting with the divine light and sound of God, which is within each and every one of us. And those of us who've been initiated, we find the master power here. So if we invert, then we can experience the master power, we can experience the radiant form of the master, and then get guidance for ourselves. And so if we focus on what the Sanmat teachings are, then we would be leading lives which are joyous and happy and fulfilled. You know, the Sanmat teachings are talked about as being very, very simple. It's easily said than done. The teachings are very simple because the teachings tell us that we are a part of God. God is not away from us. We're all connected. We're all one and the same. And the purpose of life is to know God. And to do that, we invert. We go within. And all that is very simple, easily understood. What is difficult is to put that simple understanding into practice. And the difficulty comes in from our surroundings. We have so many attractions. We have so many distractions. We have so much that our mind is throwing in our direction that those are the very few lucky ones who can meditate for 2.5 hours daily. Most of us are lucky if we meditate for 10 minutes. Because as we sit to meditate, you know, our mind is pulling us here, our mind is pulling us here. We need to do this thing, we need to go here, we got that appointment to keep, we have this thing to look at. And the distractions are so tremendous that what seems very easy is difficult for us to put into practice. So those who have been able to put this simple teaching into practice are the ones who are successful. They're the ones who are joyous at all times. They're the ones who do not worry. Irrespective of whatever happens, they're the ones who are going to be reaching their goals in this very lifetime. And many others just get distracted along the way. You know, it is just like there is this story about a lion and a monkey. And the lion and the monkey are, in the forest, and they start to have a discussion. You know, just like when you meet someone new, you have a little discussion. It could be about religion, it could be about politics, it could be about a sports team, it could be anything. When two people are discussing, their points of view are going to be different. One is going to say, oh, if we had this player, things are going to be very good. Another one's going to say, no, that guy is useless. Why do we want him on our team? It's like any time you sit and two people are talking, there'll be a lot of difference of opinion. So this monkey and the lion, they start to talk. And they're discussing as to who's the fastest in the jungle. So the lion says, oh, I'm the king of the jungle. There is no one who is faster than me. And the monkey says, what are you talking about? I mean, all you do is touch the ground. I can catch the trees and their branches, and I can go much faster than you can. So they start to have a race. Because they, both of them think that they're very fast. So they say, okay, let us race from here to the end of the jungle. And whoever gets there first is going to be the winner. So as they are thinking of starting, you put a line and, you have get, set, go, or 1, 2, 3, or whatever the lions and the monkeys do, So they're starting, and a mouse comes up. He said, what are you doing? And they say, oh, we're going to have a race. The mouse says, what kind of race are you having? So they said, oh, we're trying to find out who's the fastest. The lion says, you know, I'm the king of the jungle. I know what's wrong with this monkey. He's just wasting his time. He wants to race with me. And so the mouse says, he says, you know, I have never raced in my life. And he says, I know you two guys are very, very fast. You're going to be there, but can I just start the race with you? Because then when I have grandchildren, I can tell them I race with the lion and the monkey. And whosoever wins, I can say I was also in the race. And so they say, okay, I mean, you can be here, because by the time we go back and come back, it'll still be, you know, just a few more feet. So they said, okay. So they say, okay, get set, go, and they keep on going. And the lion is going very fast on the ground, and the monkey is just going there, and the mouse is going ditch. It's going very slowly. So here the lion is like going at high speed on the ground. And as he's running there, he runs into a tiger. And the tiger says, where are you running, my friend? So he says, oh, you know, I had this argument with the monkey, and the monkey thinks he's faster than me. And the tiger says, you running with the monkey? You're supposed to be the king of the land. If you have to race with someone, you should race with me. What is the comparison between monkey and you? It's just like wasting your time running with that. So lion thinks, okay, you know, I'm far ahead of the monkey, what is the difference? He says, okay, I'll race with you. So he was supposed to go this way, so they start racing this way now. Because the tiger and the lion are going on the race, on this direction. So the lion feels, okay, I can beat the tiger, I can catch up, and I'll get back. In the meantime, the monkey is going on the trees. And the monkey is going quite quickly. And he comes to a banana tree. He likes the bananas. He said, he looks around, doesn't see the lion, because the lion has gone in this direction. He said, oh, the lion must be far behind, so let me eat a banana. So he eats one banana, and he likes it, so he eats another banana, and eats another banana. And here he's eating bananas. In the meantime, there is the mouse. And he says, you know, I'm never going to win this race, but I have to keep on going on. So he's going slowly. And he starts to pray to God. Say, God, please at least, even if it takes me 20 days, let me get to the finish line. So I can tell my kids I finished the race, and my grandkids, that the lion won or the monkey won, but I also finished the race. And he's praying and he's taking one step at a time, he's going. What has happened is, the monkey is eating the bananas and the lion has finally beaten the tiger. Once he's beaten the tiger, he's running back and he's very confident that he's going to win the race. And so he's coming from this direction. And the monkey, after eating the bananas, just sees the lion from far away, and he starts to also catch the trees. And so they're both like, one is going here, one is going here. And the mouse is far back, and he's praying to God. He's saying, please help me, God, so I can get there. And he's very sincerely taking little steps. God says, I need to help the mouse. So here's the line coming like this, and let's say the end of the line is the back of this, hall. And here's the monkeys coming right parallel to him on the tree branches. And so God puts a big wind and gets the mouse up and puts it on the handle. And so the lion and the monkey, when they see the mouse there before them, they're like shattered. Their head is down like that. And they're thinking, what are we going to tell our kids? Have we lost the race to the mice? And this is what happens to most of us. You know, some of us think we are like kings of the land, like we are very egoistic, we are very powerful, we are very intelligent, we are very smart, we are very brainy, and so we think that we can do anything. It's like no problem to deal with anything. And so we get entangled in those activities of the world which are not bringing us any gain. Because little do we realize that what has happened is that our mind has overpowered us. Our mind is making us think that we need to go in this direction or this direction or this direction, and has boosted our ego. There are many who, as we are going through life, you know, the intention might be good, but then they find something that interests them. The monkey. He liked the bananas, and he maybe liked some mangoes, and he started to eat something else. And same thing happens with us. We say, well, let me try this for a while, and then we try this, and we try that, and we try that, because there are more attractions from the world that come in our direction, and we get entangled with them. There are very few who take steps towards their goal, because those steps are small steps. Those steps are steps, it seems like we're not getting any place. Same thing happens with meditation. When we sit to meditate, many of us, as we close our eyes and we try to still the body and the mind, experience nothing but darkness. You might see a flash of light here, another flash of light here. Sometimes a circle, sometimes the light stops and looks like it stayed there. And then we are thinking, are we getting anything? Because, you know, the scriptures are saying, oh, he can soar and he can experience this and he can experience that and he should see this and that. What's wrong with us? We are not sincere in our effort. Little do we realize that if we keep on taking the little steps one at a time, that one day it's as if everything breaks loose, like there's a windstorm that takes it to the end. And this is why this Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj would often say, even if you think you're experiencing the darkness, keep on meditating. Don't worry, be happy. That's the motto for this weekend. If you don't see the light, don't worry. If you experience the darkness, don't worry. But please find the time and put in an effort to meditate. If we don't meditate, our soul cannot gravitate into the inner regions. So we need to sit in silence. Our job is to put that effortless effort and not worry about the results. Because worrying is not going to help us any. It'll only keep us away from our goal. It'll only push us in a direction which will take us further and further away from God. Everything that we want to experience is within ourselves. So we need to go within. We need to meditate. We need to sit in silence. And as that happens, we'll see that life would be joyous, that the purpose for which we all are alive would be fulfilled, that we would be taking steps towards our true home. There are many helping factors on the spiritual path that the saints and mystics have talked about. And one of the most important ones is what is called satsang. Satsang is an opportunity to learn about the truth. Satsang is an opportunity to be with the truth. Satsang is an opportunity to experience the truth. And as we all, gather here from different parts of the world, what is very important is that if we look around, we'll see that we have many of us whose faiths might be different, whose citizenships might be different, whose color of skin might be different, but we all have something which is common. And what is common between each and every one of us is camouflage. We can see it with our outer eyes. We can't experience it with our physical senses. And we who've learned to just lead our lives based on our senses are unable to experience what is common in our existences. And what is common is a part of God. What is common between all of us is our soul, which is of the same essence of God. And that is what binds us. Those of you who've been lucky enough to be in the satsangs of Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, or Sant Kirpal Singh Ji Maharaj, or Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, I'm sure you've experienced people who on the outside seem to be so very different. Their languages might be different, the way they behave might be different. But they're all connected with a silken thread of love. The love of God, which is within each and every one of us, comes out in a satsang. Because as we are in a satsang, we're able to experience spirituality as directly as we ever can. And this is why Sant Kirpal Singh Ji Maharaj would often say in his satsang, he would say that 2/3 of spirituality comes through the eyes of the Master. They are the beacons from which spiritual energy comes in our direction. And so as it comes in our direction, it parts the covering which is surrounding our soul. And this is why I'm sure some of you have seen that in the satsangs of these great masters, there are people who just are able to rise above physical body consciousness because the camouflaging around their soul has been removed. And they start to experience themselves as they truly are. What binds all of us together, what is at the heart of the path of Sant-Mat is the love of God. That love of God that we experience as we share with each other. Because that love of God is embedded in each and every one of us. And as that love of God comes out, it starts to bring happiness and joy not only to us but to all our surroundings. And it is that love of God that puts us in a state of bliss. Because as we experience that love of God, the intoxication of that experience is what helps us rise above physical body consciousness. Meditation is not like a serious, boring activity. Meditation is a state of being in bliss. That is what true meditation is. Meditation is an experience of a soul connected to God. Meditation is experiencing of ourselves as we truly are. Meditation is to be able to experience the love of God. Meditation is to be able to experience the inner realms. Meditation is to be able to be in the lap of God, and that is what brings us eternal bliss, eternal intoxication. And this is why some of the disciples of the great masters who have perfected their techniques of meditation, who perfected the technique to be able to still the mind, who overcome the mind, are the ones who are in that eternally blissful state at all times. And they're the ones who are oblivious to their surroundings. They're the ones who are oblivious to their outside surroundings, because their attention is totally into the inner realms. Some of us on the world outside might think of them as being mad. You know, the word for mad in the Punjabi language is very interesting. It's called pagal. Pagal means someone who's mad. But pagal in Punjabi is very interesting. It can be broken into two things. One is pa, which is to get, and gal, which is the reality or the gist of whatever we're talking about. And so pagal means the one who understood the gist of what there is. And so the saints are always expecting us to attain those states. When we look at their own lives, they are the ones who are in the state of intoxication at all times. And so they come down to talk to us at our level, they come down to, be with us at our own level, but they're internally in that state. And this is why they can deal with all the difficulties and all the worries that we throw at them. So they themselves are connected with the spring of all happiness and joy deep within themselves. And that is the state that we all need to experience. We're hoping that we all take steps like the mouse towards that goal. We all pray to the Master Power, or pray to God for the gust of wind to come and put us at the goal line, realizing that on our own it is very difficult for us to get there, but under God's will everything is possible. And so as we all gather here, let us make the best use of our times by being able to focus within, by being able to spend as much time as we can in our spiritual pursuits, by finding time for our holy meditations. And as we share with each other, let the synergies of all of us being together propel us to our goals as soon as is possible under God's will. So I'll pray to God Almighty and to the three great masters of this past century, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Kirpal Singh Ji Maharaj, and the gracious Master Sandarshan Singh Ji Maharaj, to help each and every one of us take steps closer to our goals. If we are far away, then we get a big push so we can get to the goal line quickly. If we are very close, then we get a gentle push so we can cross the line and get to our goals. And whatever we need is what we get, so that the purpose for which we all are here would be fulfilled. Thank you very much.